20 times any amount where they recharge.
Wait. MTN they dash.
MTN they dash 20 times any amount where you take recharge. Now we say if you load 100 naira, now 2,000 naira be that straight.
Oh, so you mean say if I load 200 naira, now 4,000 naira be that? Sure. I don't jump bicycle, they slip sim.
They say they wrong MTN now.
Guy, I they go find my MTN sim sharp star. Yes, so if you never use your MTN sim for the past 45 days or more, time don't reach to come back and begin enjoy plenty awoof as MTN go dash you 20 times your first recharge of every month. Oh yeah, everybody don't go reactivate your MTN sim. You still the way? If you know fit find your sim, sharply go any MTN office to do sim swap and enjoy your own awoof. Terms and conditions they shall.
All the news and information making the headlines. This is the Front Page News on Classic FM 97.3.
My sister, all that glitters and shine oh. Now so I see one fine bobo like that. Fresh boy, designer this, designer that. But my boy still they carry palasa phone we no get internet, WhatsApp or even Facebook. I mean want take relate now.
My people, make Palasa phone no fall your hand this year. Upgrade to smartphone. In fact, buy any smartphone or bring your smartphone come MTN and then go summer you with 100% awoof data bam on top every bundle where you buy for the next 3 months. So make you drop that Palasa now so you feel they enjoy fast internet on the network with data boku and then be baba for data coverage. This awoof now for new and old MTN customers.
Front Page News on Classic FM 97.3.
Good morning to you once again. It's Front Page News and Analysis on Classic FM 97.3. Jimmy Jisu in the studio with us. My name is Bukola. Remember, you can always send your comments to 33973. Tweet at Classic FM 973 with the hashtag FBN. And post it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Classic FM 973. Good morning, Jimmy.
Morning. Good morning, everybody.
Okay. We're starting with the Punch this morning. It says 44 dead, 500 buildings destroyed in Katsina flood, 20 people missing. Buhari, Masari mourn. Surgeons, others nabbed for kidnapping NPC worker. IG places 5 million naira bounty on killers of 11 policemen. Nigerian Tribune, how we're barred from flying to Benue, Southern Middle Belt leaders. Adebanjo, Unwodo, Niege, Odumaki narrate how they were kept. I will laugh last, says Fayoshe. The New Telegraph, APC leaders have given me the red card, says Autumn. The Nation reads, Ekiti election, INEC dares Olushola to head for court. Oshu, APC settles for direct primary. And we start with this in detail. Ekiti poll, TMG, TI, Serap condemn vote buying by parties. The Independent National Electoral Commission has said it will probe the conduct and the outcome of the Ekiti State governorship election. The National Commissioner in charge of voter education and publicity, Prince Solomon Shoyebi, revealed this to one of our correspondents in Abuja on Monday, and that is talking about the Punch correspondent. Shoyebi, who was in charge of the Ekiti election, said the investigation would be a holistic one and the result will be made public soon after.
Thank you very much. Well, the Ekiti election is come and gone, and the winner has been declared. We congratulate him. The usual rhetoric that follows elections are not unexpected and have taken place. And also the drama before the elections, in which the particularly embarrassing one is one in which a governor, wears a brace upside down and then ties a bandage to it. Even I know, I've used these braces before. They're supposed to hold your neck up. Okay? So how you now tie a bandage on your hand and tie it to the neck brace, I don't understand. Definitely no doctor should have done that. But that's neither here nor there. The elections are over. Now, set up TMDTI condemn vote buying in Ekiti polls. We've always had vote buying. And we will always have. And we cannot curb it. Because for every move that you try to make to curb it, the people get smarter. That's what it is. Why would it be almost impossible to curb it? Two major reasons. One, I still maintain with no reservations that most Nigerians, are not deep thinkers. let's look at what happened in this vote buying exercise. So a man owes you a salary of 7 months. Let us assume for argument purposes that you are the last rung of the ladder. Okay? He is owing you 7 months. Let's say you're 18,000. 18,000 times 7 is what? He don't sleep, go. Okay. Anyway, they owe you that much. And then he now gives you 4,000 to vote for him. And you do. He gives you 4,000 to vote for him, and you do. In fact, Ekiti's case was particularly funny because here you are, the Ekiti people were caught between a governor they didn't like 4 years earlier and throughout, rightly or wrongly, they didn't like him. He lost the election, and then the current one, who's been owing them salaries for close to 7 months. Remember, I want you to try this, Buki. With every human being that earns a salary, every Nigerian that earns a salary, there are a minimum of 4 or 5 people tied to that pay. No matter how small the salary
Responsibilities?
is. Responsibilities, yes. Mm-hmm. I mean, so, apart of even statutory responsibilities, there will be about 3 or 4 people, bros, anything that you can give me, things like that. So, I don't know how they're going to stop vote buying. I heard the ingenious thing they did was they give you the money, and then when you vote, you show there must be an observer anyway. Then you show him and say, "Hey, you see, I'm clear, and that's also took place. And for as long as money is the premise on which votes are casted or are cast, as the case may be, we will never have true democracy in this country. We will never have any benefit.
It's a threat to our landscape, democracy landscape.
But it's become part of our culture. That's the unfortunate thing. Okay, and the TI says vote buying will affect the credibility of elections. When you say vote buying, I think the most important thing is to make sure that the elections are not rigged. The numbers are not tampered with. If a man wants to cast his vote, he either casts it according to his conscience, either because he's been mobilized or otherwise. That's it's up to him. When you sell your vote, at the end of the day, you can't hold that leader accountable because he feels. When you get to that bridge, you cross it. But you must cast your vote for a reason. We need to work on our people to explain just what you have just said. Otherwise, if a man wants to buy your vote and you feel so inclined to sell it, hey, that can't be stopped. But let's go on. Serap says monetization of votes must stop. That's more like it. Vote buying a bad omen. The police commission says that we received, I'm reading the little headlines, 35 complaints of vote buying and so on and so forth. Now there's another story here that is quite important. And it says here, MBC saved Ekiti from major violence. Buki, we always talk about the word. How the word of mouth can do more damage than even 100 guns. You know that the Ekiti State Broadcasting Corporation on Saturday, on the orders of the governor, they had to shut them down. If there would have been chaos, because they were already broadcasting results. Not on the order of the governor, because it was the governor that went to announce. He had gone to the radio station to want to announce a result. He had gone personally. Yes, which is even worse. Because that would have created some sort of chaos. But so that was why it was shut down. I honestly don't understand this gentleman called Ayodele Fayose. It would be nice to do a real case study on him, long after his tenure. But thank God the chaos was prevented. The NBC, they lived up to the expectation, and the chaos was prevented. All right, let's take this. Maritime workers threaten strike over Oshodi-Apapa Expressway. Say industrial unrest appears only option. Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, MWAN, has expressed disgust over the deplorable state of access routes to the nation's seaports, especially Oshodi-Apapa Expressway, saying it is totally unacceptable. It noted that industrial unrest appears to be the only option to draw government's attention to the plight of road users, business owners, and residents of the area. I feel for the maritime workers, on the plight in what they have to go through on the issue of the Apapa Expressway. But I'm as fed up as they are. You can see that their back is against the wall. And as far as for me, what has been nice that one is like banging your head against the wall for solutions like this. I think maybe we probably let's see how it goes. Let's see, we're close to an election. We'll probably make up our minds on what to do about this, because day in, day out, it's the same story. We've been at this now for close to almost 4 years. And if
why is it so hard?
Well, I don't want to go into these things again. Because if you've noticed, I've just kept quiet. I'm fed up. I'm just completely fed up. Problems are meant to be solved. You understand what I'm saying? Problems are meant to be solved. But when you keep hitting your head against the wall, saying now the maritime workers now are threatening to go on strike. Their backs are against the wall. That whole place is a disaster zone.
I'm sure it's frustrating working in that kind of environment.
It's frustrating. As at this morning, the tankers again were back fully on the bridge. Everywhere is in confusion. Heaven help us. We can only call on God now. Send down the Messiah.
Well, when the solution is obvious and we are calling on
I don't have
him.
any solution. I'm not talking anything about that.
I'm just mentioning.
Don't
this Radegashi says here, I guess it was a blind buy of votes. How would you know who I voted for? I can't understand this pattern of buying.
Because you're not a voter who wants to pay. They understand themselves at that level, to be very honest with you. And a lot more things go on because if you want to watch, you want somebody or some agency to watch the buying of votes and so on and so forth, they will roger that one again. Poverty is worse than cancer. It finishes any society completely.
But how long would we continue to make that excuse for poverty? We won't go past it. That's just it's a tough one here.
Many people don't know that the politicians know what they're doing.
It's a ploy
at all levels. When your educational whatever is being kept below par, it's to control your thinking. It's a strategy that has worked for so many years. Look at what you find on the social media. Look at some of the reasoning that comes up.
So probably it's time we need to get out and have some sort of massive education for the grassroots and let them realize
that.
The
grassroots don't want to be educated, period. Trust me. You have to come to terms with the country that you are living in, Buki, for your own sanity. The masses don't want to be educated. They just want especially the new breed that is coming up. They have a sense of entitlement, and by hook or by crook, by force or whatever, they want to grab what is available. Heaven help us all. When these things start and we don't nip them in the bud, this is what you get. You need to come to terms with the kind of country that you are living in. I have come to terms with the country that I'm living in.
Be optimistic.
I'm optimistic for myself.
LMS Penn says vote buying will continue to strive in Nigeria because the government and the elite of Nigeria have regulated and dehumanized Nigerians and Nigerian workers. Alarming high rate of unemployment, underemployed youth. They had structured Nigeria to doom if they do not know. But we need to save Nigeria from this.
The danger though is that increasingly there is a very tiny part that is left to go round. That is where the danger comes in. So with this attitude, that's why you have a lot of violent thinking. Look at the social media, abuse.
No, it's horrible.
Look at the stories you review in the papers. A man is alleged that a man wants to use his own girlfriend for money. All those little kids, 65, fiddling with 3-4 year olds, whatever. Most of them are for ritual reasons, and it's all for money. It's a monster we created, and there's nobody to tame it for us.
Joseph Eramose says, good morning. Until INEC makes our elections truly secret ballot, collect the money and vote your conscience. And J.O. says, the brace in the man's neck must have been done by a native doctor. If a real medical practitioner did that, his certificate should be seized.
I have an indigenous of Ekiti coming at 9, and he's a medical doctor, so it's going to be the first question I'm going to ask him.
Abbas Oladipo says, Fayose took opposition to the extreme with his theatrics and recklessness. He could have been a good opposition if he was focus-driven, but instead he chose to spread falsehood and create tension. Good that he's going now.
Mr. Ogunride, can I ask you a question? Was Fayose the candidate in that I wanted to say exam? Was Fayose the candidate in the election?
Well, it took a while for everybody to realize.
That's one of the reasons why he lost. Why he's better known now and other politicians is because he didn't even give the candidate a breathing space. Nobody knew him virtually.
He wasn't projected.
He wasn't projected. Nobody knew him. Everybody thought.
Kewa says, when I see the attitude of our politicians and our electorate too, I can only pity our country. Uncle Jimmy, in 2019, should people just vote for the sake of voting? With all this, we are saying our politicians do. He's in a dilemma here, and he needs.
I'm in the same dilemma. Let me be honest with you. It's almost gotten to a point where we just prefer certain reasons to fulfill our righteousness, but in your inner reasons, it might not work. What can work in Nigeria? I honestly don't know. Let me be honest with you. Democracy is not working. Military government didn't work well. So what can work? The minds of the people has been turned completely upside down. Of course, poverty. It's not, and it was a well-contrived plan. Then the next strategy is to give you things that would take your mind off the real issues. Like this restructuring and all this. I saw in the papers, Niger Delta people could not land a plane in Benue and so on and so forth. These are not the issues. The first issue to face is bread and butter issue and then education. These are administrative processes. Is restructuring going to put the food on my table or your table? As you are talking, what about those who are closest to you? So some people called me some time ago to come and join some whatever because they believe that Yorubas have been marginalized. I'm not marginalized. I'm not a contractor. If I feel marginalized at all, it's from the people that are closest to me, from my local government. And we keep begging the issue. Politicians keep diverting our mind. That's why I didn't take the story of those who said they couldn't, and South, whatever, that said they couldn't land because they wanted to go and discuss the structuring in Benue.
But with this huge population we have, can we say we do not have people who really know what governance is all about and take charge?
It's because our minds have been taken over. When it gets to a point where you read in the newspaper that the Anglican Communion is telling the president, it's here again, second time in about 2 weeks. It's saying that the president shouldn't contest because of his age and this and that. What does that tell you? Nobody wants to stay in look at the colony of ants. A soldier ant is a soldier ant. A queen bee is a queen. Nobody wants to stay. Everybody wants something from the center. That's why I say everybody wants to grab what he can grab.
Well, there's a picture.
But the only problem, Shao, is that this one where they did this Baba not a drop.
Okay, there's a picture here from Adinka Biola, and it's really horrible. You can see the trucks, the Oshodia Papa.
No, this is been on for so long.
All right, we'll take a break on Front Page News.
Some of us have given up on that.
And we'll be right back.
Guy, now what for you? Where your MTN SIM day?
MTN SIM? The price I top on one side.
I don't call you since last week now. You don't miss many things. So business day, I say I call you. Your phone say not available. I call say me go arrange another hustle. Your phone still say not available. I call say me I tell you say MTN don't they dash some people 20 times any amount where they recharge.
Wait. MTN they dash.
I say MTN they dash 20 times any amount where you take recharge. Now be say if you load 100 naira, now 2,000 naira be that straight.
Oh, so you mean say if I load 200 naira, now 4,000 naira be that? Sure. I don't jump bicycle, they slip SIM.
They say they rock MTN now.
Guy, I they go find my MTN SIM sharp. Yes, so if you never use your MTN SIM for the past 45 days or more, time don't reach to come back and begin enjoy plenty awoof as MTN go dash you 20 times their first recharge of every month. Oh yo, everybody don't go reactivate their MTN SIM. You still the wait? If you know fit find your SIM, sharply go any MTN office to do SIM swap and enjoy your own awoof. Terms and conditions they shall.
You're tuned in to the Front Page News on Classic FM 97.3.
It's the front page news and analysis on Classic FM 97.3. The next headline here reads, Party settles for direct primary. Oshiomhole process more democratic. Barring any last-minute changes, the All Progressive Congress will on Thursday pick its standard bearer for the Osun State governorship election through direct primaries. It was learned yesterday.
This is quite revolutionary because in the past, when you want when primaries are supposed to be held, I was almost speaking Yoruba English here. When primaries are going to be held, you have what you call delegates, and that had always been a source of strife and whatever, divide the party and so on and so forth. And the delegates that you appoint usually might not even take up the mandate of that ward or whatever it is. So now what Oshiomhole is saying is that they are going to settle for direct primaries. Every member of the party, if I understand what this is, every member of the party is going to cast his vote. So nobody feels left out. So it's a Herculean task it's going to be a Herculean task for contestants. Some of them have to go and review their budgets because of this announcement. You understand what I mean? I thought I could get away with 600-700 million, but now I think I better move to 1.2 billion because I have more. There's going to be more. That's the reality. That is reality. People to become delegates especially when it comes to presidential elections, to become delegates. You know, the last one was held. The APC primary was held close to my house. We saw a lot of what was going on there, and so. This revolutionary idea by Oshiomhole, if anything, I hope will settle the rancor that you have in the parties. If you want to contest now, you have to go from one ward to the other, to get your mandate, explain things to them. So maybe there'll be less rancor.
You think there will still be some sort of controversy here?
That is always standard. If you tell two politicians to go and cast just one vote each for a third party, there'll always be something going on.
All right, let's take this from WhatsApp messages. It says, stop this Baba no dey drop. People are dropping on his behalf and the party. And
look, let's call this. We know what happened in the last presidential elections. Endorsements, people were running left, right, and center to endorse from east, from west, from north, from whatever. This one that is there. Drop.
You think so?
At least for now.
Good morning, Uncle Jimmy. With the recent Ekiti elections and the vote buyings, I fear for the 2019 elections. This is coming from Uku Owume.
Why did you fear for the 2019 elections? Is what has been done only God knows since when. I think that maybe the last time voters were probably not induced were in the days of Awolowo. That is in terms of cash. But they still spread money here and there. But since this new dispensation has been very brazen, it's direct. Nobody wants anybody to collect on his behalf. It's direct. Look, did you see that BBC short documentary?
I saw that.
Look at the way people were running. Say, Ibeni, that's where that's what Ibeni for 4,000 naira. Because the politicians have gotten it right. They've impoverished the people. Can you imagine a worker in Ekiti who for 7 months hasn't been paid? You now hear that they're giving out 4,000 free of charge. You think he won't run for it? It's a game that we know. No,
we need to stop playing this game.
Look, it's a tough call. Our people are impoverished. Let's be adults here. Our people are impoverished. They can't resist it.
Well, this says that's just the truth. Me, I didn't even know who the name of the PDP aspirant in Ekiti. In Ekiti, Farashi was just everywhere. He became a menace. And Uncle Jimmy, Baba no dey drop because the head of INEC and security agents are his kingsmen. So it's now all about announcing APC candidates as winners.
This kind of thinking bothers me, and I don't blame the because it's been repeated over and over again. Well, the likes of, I think Fayose also said that INEC was moving against him and so on and so forth. You forget, look at the structure of INEC itself. You have 36 commissioners from across it's not a one-man decision. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying that there might not be some individuals in INEC who might compromise, but as a body they cannot. I mean, let's be adults about these things and not just throw them in the air all the time. So what if the chairman of INEC is his kinsman? Is he going to go and rig in all the 36 states? If anything, the man that has the least powers in an organization like that is the chairman, because everything he does, it has to be done by somebody. Everybody is watching him. So don't let's get into this, say no, it's because it is countryman and that's why it happened. So is it because Jega was a northerner that Buhari became president? Come on, let's grow up, man.
Engineer Bayo says, good morning, Uncle Jody and Sister Buki. If you want to talk about trucks in Apapa, honestly, Uncle Jimmy, you will not leave the studio today. I never believe that numbers of trucks are actually entering Lagos. I took my time to count when I was driving past where the trucks were packed in Apapa Oshodi Expressway, and I was able to count about 50 trucks in just 5 kilometers.
Look, in terms of things like this, transports, and I'm not going to say anything anymore. I've adopted what we call sit-down look. It's left to the people. We've had enough of talking, and we want to see action. If we don't see action, it's left to the people. I can't be repeating the same thing every day. So I'll just sit back and watch what's going on.
Well, you have this from Chukwemeka. It says, because you don't like Fayose, you're making excuses for vote buying. Wisdom says, Jimmy, your hatred towards Fayose is very alarming. You have to let go of this man.
Look at the two words that I used there. Wrongly used words: hatred and alarming. I have no business with the man. I've never met him. There's nothing he has that I want. I don't know if there's something I have that he wants. Let's get real and stop. This is a very serious program, please, and we should stop, these trivial things that we keep throwing around. Hatred for what?
Anglican Communion laments religion, ethnic division under Buhari. Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion Diocese of Aguata yesterday said Nigeria had never in her history and existence been divided along regional, ethnic, and political lines as in the current administration.
This is the second time in about a month that this is called, and I remember the last time I called on the Anglican Communion to rein in all its bishops and whatever who are making alarming interest. Stick to your core business. Your core business is to save souls and ensure that there's a peaceful environment. It's unbelievable that a headline would read Anglican Communion laments religion, ethnic division under Buhari. Fair enough. But the writer now says president's age, health make him unfit for second term. I am sorry. This is an unfortunate statement that shouldn't have come from the Anglican Communion. And is the Anglican Communion divided? One now needs to look at these things, with a microscope. And it's very, very dangerous. To mix religion and politics is a very dangerous thing. And I'm wondering, is the Anglican Communion divided? Last time, was it 2-3 months ago? Then we also had some bishop make fairly reckless statements, supporting a candidate and saying they don't do, and so on and so forth. We must all be very, very careful. If God has bestowed certain positions and responsibilities or not, that even demands more. That we be very, very careful about the things that we say. You can say things on your dining table when it's just 2-3 people, but to read in the papers that the Anglican Communion says the president's age, health make him unfit for second term is very, very unfortunate. But this particular one says Church of Nigeria Anglican Diocese of Aguata yesterday said Nigeria had never in her history, and they go on and on. And this was the Bishop of Aguata Diocese, writes Reverend Dr. Samuel Ezeofo, said in his presidential address. This is unfortunate, and it's coming. This is the second one that is coming from the Anglican Communion. I think we would need a definite statement on this.
All right, Chigozie says, Mr. Jimmy, the hard truth is that the only thing that can work here is to attend to Israel. Nigeria cannot be good again. No, Chigozie, we don't want you to have that mindset. The ethnic division has gotten to crescendo. And
when you say to your attend to Israel, the question is where you are. Is your local government chairman even doing the right thing? Is your traditional ruler doing the right thing? The
family units, the small units, are we doing the right
elites,
thing?
Are they doing the right thing? So where I am, I can't say a lot of right things are being done, but then again, that's a story for another day. So this idea that if we split, let's hit it head on, it's not going to solve your problem. It's not just like I don't think state police is going to solve the security problems that we have. If anything, I think it's going to be a bigger problem, but let's wait and see.
All right, there are a lot of comments here. Let me quickly take this because time will not permit us. Tony Stevens says the church is the representative of the people. If the church doesn't speak up, who will at this stage?
The church should not, sorry, Buki, I apologize. The church can speak out on behalf of the people in general terms, but the church should not be saying that because of the president's age and it's the church shouldn't get involved in politics. Period. It shouldn't get involved in politics.
All right, okay. On that note, we have to run. Sports Express is right after. Thank you, Jimmy, for coming on the show this morning as always. Enjoy the rest of your day.